Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Hi, Foffit. You've reached Mel from Bella, the podcast that feels like a voice note from your best friend. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. If you're a new listener, I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome to the Inner Group Chat. And if you are a returning listener, I'm so glad you came back because we have so much to catch up on. What a week it's been. What a week it's been. I feel like I've done loads and I've done nothing at the same time. I've kind of been on my own quite a lot this week and I feel like I've kind of locked in. I've been very productive, probably hyper-productive, probably a bit too much, but I've managed to get a lot of stuff done. And today I spent 3 hours editing one video. 3 hours editing a video. 42 seconds of my life in 3 hours. But I'm really trying to push my content creation, push how good I am at it, make it into something that like makes me stand out. Because continuing to do the same thing over and over and over again when you're not seeing the growth that you want to do is silly. You know, I'll complain that my content isn't growing fast enough, that my social media isn't growing fast enough, and then I'll just be doing the exact same thing week after week after week and thinking, why is this not working? When you just need to stop spending less time working out why and just pivot to something new. Just try something new. If you don't know why it is, try something new until you find something that starts working and repeat that format. Don't repeat the thing that doesn't work. And I've just been repeating the thing that doesn't work over and over and over again. And so I said, stop, we're not doing that anymore. And I'm trying new things. And it is hard, to be honest. Like, it's taken me a lot of work and it's boring at points. It's like obviously exciting editing and like enjoying like pushing myself out of my comfort zone. But when I'm in hour 2 of editing a video, I'm thinking, why is this taking me so long? But quality over quantity is my new thinking. And it's uncomfortable because I think when you batch produce loads of content, you produce loads of things, you can see loads of deliverables, and you're like, God, I did all of that. It really feels like you've done something. And then when you spent 3 hours on one thing and you watch it through and you think, that's the video? That's the video, and it does look really good, but it feels like always nerve-wracking to have less things to post because, you know, it's less lottery tickets. I'm hedging more of my bets into that one, but if it's high quality, then surely it'll do better. And I think I'm also really trying to like only produce things that I feel really proud of. Not just creating to creating when I like working on something until I'm happy with it. Because I think it's easy to think that we just have to produce as much as we humanly can of something to be like keep going and keep going. And I don't think that leads to the best creations, to be honest. I really don't think it does. I think we've got to spend time working on the things that feel important to us, working on the things that bring us value, working on things that we see as priorities, and understand that you should only share something when you feel proud of it, especially when there's no pressure to share something sooner. I got into this like kind of, not bad phase, but a phase where I was working and I was just sharing and I felt a bit robotic. The care and the love and the passion of what I was doing and what I was creating kind of felt like it was floating away a little bit. I was just creating to create without really thinking about how I felt in the thing. Like, do I feel proud of that? Do I like that video? Is that something I resonate with? Just started thinking like, yep, it's fine. This is fine. And this is kind of the first proper week where I've been like, I really like everything that I'm posting. And the interesting thing is, when I really like what I'm posting, I'm way less bothered about everyone else. I'm not that fussed. Not that I'm not interested in what everyone else is posting, but I don't see it so, like, it doesn't hurt as much. And I think this kind of mindset of really focusing in on you, becoming so much more bothered with you, producing things that you're proud of, that you're happy with. You know, you might not do content creation, but you can carry it across to so many different things. You know, is there anything creative you're working on? Any goal that you're working on, as soon as you double down and focus on you and start working on something until you're happy with it, the noise of everyone else just becomes so much quieter because it's less interesting. When you're so involved in what you're creating and what you're doing and what you're aspiring for, everything else is just background. You know, it's interesting, but I'm not going to waste too much time on it. And it doesn't bother me and it doesn't make me want to change what I'm doing. And I can feel myself growing in confidence again, which is a nice feeling. It's nice feeling confident in the things you're doing and proud of what you're doing and excited about where you're going. And I'd lost that. I started to feel like I'm just churning things out and nothing is working. Where am I going? And the thing about trying new things, which is what this podcast is entirely about, this podcast is about the best piece of self-help advice I've ever been given, which was from a project management course, and we'll get onto that, but also about growing and achieving these goals that you want to achieve. Because, you know, for one of mine, it's always scary saying goals out loud, isn't it? Because then everyone knows what you're working towards. But I feel like we're in a group chat here, and so I feel like it's a safe space. Like, I have been wanting to hit 30,000 followers on TikTok, 30,000 followers on Instagram, 200,000 followers on TikTok. You know, those are quite big goals, quite different in their sizes. But I've just really wanted to do those things. And I've also wanted to create content that people feel engaged in. My views have just been really low. And it's not that it's all based on views, but, you know, it's demotivating when you spend 3 hours on something and no one watches it. You just think, am I doing this right? But it's a process getting better at things. It's a process learning. And when you are learning, when you are trying to get out of your comfort zone, you feel worse at it. And that is an uncomfortable feeling because you're like, why am I feeling worse? Everything should feel better. Everything should feel easy. I'm meant to be getting better, but getting better actually means realizing how much you don't know, how much is out of your comfort zone, how much you have still to go. And I think sometimes this is why I don't want to have like change and experience change, and I don't want to push myself because, you know, I like thinking that I know everything. It makes me feel more confident. But truthfully, it's a fake confidence because deep down I know. Deep down, I know I'm not at my like peak potential. I know I've still got so far to go. And once you kind of realise that and think, it's okay that I've still got far to go, but let's just start learning. Let's just start trying. Let's start seeing where this could go. I can feel the confidence growing again. I can feel like I'm enjoying the creative process. I'm enjoying working out who I want to be, and I'm enjoying working out where I'm going. And that, like, when you have these big goals and these big things you want to achieve, being motivated is going to be driven by how much you want something and your passion for something. And when your passion starts to waver, your motivation starts to waver because you start thinking, why should I do this? Why should I do this? And I think sometimes my passion starts wavering when I give myself too much time to think, which sounds silly. I know that sounds silly. But sometimes when I'll have, for example, perfect example. Yesterday evening, it was maybe like 8:30. I was going to get into bed, but probably once I got into bed, I might read or journal or scroll. No, I shouldn't say that, but I might. You know, there was nothing really on my to-do list, and I've been trying to write a Substack article every single day for May. Because I have realised I've wanted to grow on Substack and grow as a writer, but I've just kept kicking this goal down the road. I've just kept thinking, not today, not this week, not this month. You know, maybe next month I'll have more time. Instead of just doing it now. And this is where this podcast episode links into the best piece of life advice I have ever received. Because I was in a project management course, okay? And project management courses, you know, I wouldn't necessarily say they are the source of self-growth material. But the teacher said to us, they said, never assume that you are going to be more free in the future. Okay? Never assume that you're going to be more free in the future. Never think that future is going to have more time. Never think that just because your calendar is empty in 6 weeks, that it's going to be empty in 6 weeks. And it got me thinking, because there's a lot of things I want to do in my life. There's a lot of goals and things I want to achieve that I just keep thinking, oh, I'll do it when I have more time. I'll do it when I have more time. But that day where I have more time never comes. That moment where I have more time never comes. That outcome where I feel like I have more time never ever comes. And so I'm pushing these goals down the road and thinking, oh, in the future I'll be able to do it. In the future there'll be more time. In the future I'll be able to do it. But I never prioritize it. And so I just kick the goal down the road, like the Substack articles. I constantly say week after week, I can't be bothered. I don't have time. I'm making this too much. There's no growth I'm seeing. Instead of just thinking, I have half an hour, which is what I did last night when I had half an hour before I went to actual bed. I had half an hour, let's just write something. And I think sometimes I have this mindset that things have to be perfect. They can't just be good enough. The time period has to be perfect. The day has to be perfect. The month has to be perfect. You know, if I'm going to start a new goal, it has to be on a Monday. It has to be at the start of the month. If I want to write a Substack, I have to have 2 hours free. If I want to clean the house, I have to clean the entire house. I can't just clean one room. I have to feel like my timetable has to be perfect in order for me to start something. And in seeing things like that and needing everything to be perfect and needing everything to kind of come together in that way, I am limiting how much I can achieve, and I'm limiting how much I can grow, and I'm limiting everything that I can do because I'm waiting for these perfect moments that never come, because life ends up happening. If I think about my week this week and how I thought this week would look maybe 3 weeks ago, my week has been filled, been jam-packed, but with loads of things I would not have thought were ever on my to-do list. Loads of things have come out of the blue, things that I would not have expected. And that feels, it just makes me think like how many goals I've had that I've just pushed down the end of the road because I've always thought I'll have more time in the future. I'll have more time to do things, but that time never comes. And so I'm trying a new thing. As soon as I think about doing something, I'm doing it. And I know I've spoken about this before. It didn't last. Don't know what I think is going to make it last this time, but I'm really, really trying. I got gifted this journal called like the Head Planner Journal. I don't get anything from telling you guys about this, by the way. But in the journal, it has like a daily planner, like a list of goals that you want to achieve. And I've actually just been trying to complete it. Okay, and it's a bit daunting, putting things on the list and actually trying to tick them off. But I've actually been trying to tick them off. And like yesterday, I had half an hour, hadn't done any of the goals on the list, hadn't written the Substack, hadn't tidied this part of my flat, hadn't sorted my lunch for the day, and I was just about to get into bed. And I just thought, do you know what? Let me just spend 30 minutes doing it. And I did it all. And I felt such a sense of accomplishment because when you tell yourself you're going to do something and you do it, you think, like, I did that. Like, I am determined. And I think it impacts how you see yourself. Because the thing about goal setting is that your brain, when you say you're going to do something, when I say I'm going to go to the gym this afternoon, my brain releases some of the dopamine that achieving that goal would have given me. It's why it's so dangerous saying your goals out loud and saying you're going to do something. I'm going to wake up tomorrow, I'm going to be on my grind, I'm going to do everything that I've said I'm going to do. It's why it's so much better to keep that to yourself and just do it. Don't say it, just do it. Because when you say it, you get some of that reward that you'd get when you actually complete the task at hand. And so this is what I've been doing. Rather than saying, oh, I'll do that tomorrow, I'll write the Substack tomorrow, I'm just doing it when I think about it and when I have a free moment. When it feels like it could be the right moment, I am just doing it. And I feel like I'm more on top of everything this week than I ever have been before. And it's made me feel like proud of myself. And I know we don't like saying that we're proud of ourselves. It's uncomfortable to think, do you know what? I've done quite a lot of things this week. But I am actually proud of myself. I've always said I wanted to get better at editing and storytelling and creating more engaging content. And I am spending time doing that now. I'm really pushing myself. I'm really trying hard. I always say like I'm going all in. But I've actually, I couldn't do any more now. And it's a nice feeling knowing that you're growing at something and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. It's nice when things finally start to click. And it's not they're going to click forever. It's not that I think this is like, oh, finally made it to that level now. But I think when you're constantly trying to improve everything, when you start to see value in what you're doing, when you start to see good responses, when you start to see it kind of clicking, it just makes you feel good about yourself. And that's why I kind of want you to take on this mindset too. Because the way you talk about your goals, the way you see the free time in your life, it does matter. It really does matter. And I had just ignored it. So this week, I'm trying something new. Well, this month I am trying something new. I'm sticking to my content pillars. I'm pushing myself out of my comfort zone with editing. I'm allowing my space to get things wrong, to grow. And I'm giving myself the time to try new things. And when I think about doing it, I'm doing it. And we're going to see what this month holds. Because I kind of hope that May is our month. Not that every other month won't be our month, but if we could see some growth, if we could see some real world wins, that would be really exciting. And so write in, let me know what you achieved, let me know how this new mindset impacts you, because it's easy to think we'll have time in the future, but if you are free right now in the present, do it now in the present moment, because the present moment is all you can ever control. You don't know how future you is going to feel, and we need to stop thinking that we will. But thank you for listening to this week's podcast episode. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok at Mel from Bella. And if you want to write into my advice column, please do. Make sure you send it to dearbellaadvice@gmail.com and I may potentially respond on my Substack. Okay, I can't wait to catch up with you again next week. I love you. Bye. Mwah.